Welcome back everyone. Now we're going to do the instant coffee stain on the wooden floor. And if you're just tuning in and you missed part one I show you how to make the wooden floor for your dollhouse. If you want to see how I make the floor, then hit that link in the description box below and I'll show you how to do that. So what you need for your instant coffee stain is instant coffee, of course. You do not need this brand. It doesn't matter. Whatever instant coffee you have will do. This is what I had in my cupboard. You need a paintbrush, you need a little bit of water, not very much, and then you're going to need something to seal it with. I use two different types of sealers. I use a spray-on sealer and I use a brush-on sealer. And I'll explain more about that later as we carry on. So the instant coffee, very easy to mix up. I just pour it in like that. And that's all I do, just mix up a little coffee. Now if you want it lighter, you'd put in more water. If you want it darker, then you'd put in more instant coffee. You want to test it out on a stick that's not on your floor and just see if you like the color. And the color is easily adjustable and you can see how nice that is. I love instant coffee stain. And just going to go ahead and brush it on. Now because this is mostly water, your floor will be at risk of warping. So you want to just do this quickly. And you don't worry, because I've done big floors, like larger floors, like I showed you in the gnome home, and those didn't warp. And I was able to stain them all just fine. And then when I'm all done, I'm going to help this floor dry a little bit with my heat gun. You can use a hair dryer as well. Now I'll use my heat gun. And if you have a heat gun, you decide to use it, be very, very careful, of course, because you're at risk of burning yourself and also burning the floor, and we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to go very quickly just to get the most of the moisture off this floor. I just keep the heat gun moving. I don't keep it on one spot, of course, just keep it moving and just dry it for a few minutes. Okay, so I used my heat gun and the floor is actually dry to the touch. So I can just go ahead and put my other coat on there. You see that rich color coming out. And every time you dry it, it's going to fade up a bit, so it might need 2 or 3 coats. Okay, that's a beautiful rich color there, and that was 3 coats of instant coffee stain, and I dried it in between coats, and that just took about 10 minutes. So now, because coffee stain isn't exactly a stain, it might start coming off, especially if something wet is on there or damp. It could fade off. So you need to seal this in before you are ready to use your floors. So I use 2 different types of sealers. In my gnome home, because I didn't make template floors and I put the sticks right on the floor itself, I use this satin sealer, and I buy this stuff at Walmart. Great stuff. It does a nice finish. But the problem is when you do a brush-on sealer like this, because like I said, this is a coffee stain, if you go over the same spot twice, you might fade out the coffee stain. So what I do is I go very quickly, just dip my brush, and just start it in, and don't go over the same spot twice. Just keep your brush moving. Figure out which way you're going to go, and just keep going in that direction. And see, there's no issue there at all. And I went lightly. And I covered the entire surface, and none of that coffee stain came off. But if you can take your floor outside like I can, what I do to remedy that problem of the stain coming off is I use a spray-on sealer. This stuff is great. I also get it at Walmart. Clear acrylic sealer, and it's a matte. And I just lightly spray that, leave it dry for about 5 minutes, and then I'm good to go. I can apply my brush-on sealer, and I have no problems at all. So of course you just let that dry, and then once it's dry you can put as many more coats as you want as the brush-on sealer, and you don't have to worry about any of that stain fading off. And if it's possible to spray it first before you put on the brush-on sealer, then do it that way because it's nice and easy and quick, and wait 5 minutes, and then you don't have to worry about that stain coming up at all, and then you can apply your brush-on sealer. And of course you don't need to use both of these sealers at all. I just do it this way because I like the finish of it. You can use one or the other or both. The choice, of course, is always up to you. I hope that gave you some good ideas to get your own wooden floor made, and I hope your dolls enjoy their new wooden floor. Thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.